I'm going to make a quick little video here. There's not a lot out there in the YouTube world, but anyway, here's my old Chevy van. It's a beauty. What I'm doing today is I'm installing this sine wave inverter so I could run air conditioning and fun stuff like that inside this van. The hard part is getting the inverter to connect to the battery, and if you have a side post terminal, you get a lot of misinformation. But the very first step that we're going to do, I went to AutoZone. I bought these side post adapters, so I only have 2 hands and I can't really hold the camera while I'm doing this, but you got to wrestle these little guys out and replace them with these guys, and then you'll have a post, extra post where you can bolt on eyelets, cables, things like that. However, these are not nearly long enough, so it looks like I'm going to try to use this 6 gauge. I only got to go about 5 feet, maybe 6 feet. But anyway, I think that the 6 gauge is going to be okay. I'm just going to be pulling 350 watts or so for an air conditioner. It shouldn't be a big load. Otherwise, you'd have to use fatter than that cable. All right, we'll update as we go here. Okay, so just a few minutes later here, these little inserts, they're easy to get out. All you really got to do is take a screwdriver and pry on that little red rubber lip right up there. Or what I did is I just grabbed, I don't have my pliers, but I have needle noses. I just grabbed it like this and gave it some twisty motion, and I saw that it wanted to come out, and it just kind of pulled right on out. So set that off to the side, and that's what you're looking at. So this is going to be a pretty easy job. Put these posts on there. Okay, so like most jobs go, this one's turning into be a crap fest. So yeah, we pulled this guy out, and I'm replacing it with this guy. But the problem is when you push it in, you can see how it goes in. Okay, so the round shaft part went in, but when you look at the back side, that is just not enough bolt going through to catch the hole, to catch the threads. You could see this square nut is just totally in the way. There's no way to extend this bolt. It's fixed in position. So what I'm doing right now, this is so ghetto, I can't even believe I'm doing this, but whatever. Whatevs is, I used my Sharpie and I traced a marker. I traced around where that nut is, and then a ballpoint pen would have been better. But you can see that much red rubber is in my way, and I'm sitting here with my knife. Probably need an X-Acto blade, trying to cut that crap out of my way so I could sink this guy deeper in there. It's always some sort of nonsense drama. Okay, so I had success cutting off the rubber. What a crap job. My suggestion is if any of you are watching this and you want to try this on your own GM side post, make sure you get a really nice sharp blade. I mean, this sharp blade just breezed through it. I'm sitting here playing around with a pocket knife. Anyway, so this thing just slides right on in. It pushes in, and now you can see the threads are sticking out. It's a little freaky weird because that bolt, this 6-sided bolt face, is what you need to tighten it, and it starts recessing into this red rubber housing. So let's just hope that, it fits in there, and it does thread in. Nope, sorry. It does thread in, but you could see the maddening nonsense. You only have a little bit of you know, 6-sided bolt to work with. It's pretty skinny in there. So anyway, be prepared for that. I'm sure that, you know, if I put the right socket on it, let's see, what kind of socket size is it looking for? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna put this phone down. Hang on. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so once you put the socket on, this shaft gets in the way of the socket, or not the socket, but the ratchet. So I'm gonna have to do this by hand. It's a 19, and do I have a 19 deep well? 3/4 inch deep well, but geez, I don't want to use a deep well here because it's going to touch the metal and all hell's going to break loose. So anyway, jury's still out on this, but this is what I'm dealing with. Maybe a wrench. I'm going to try a wrench. Okay, yay, and the people rejoiced. I got my 3/4 inch wrench. I got a ratcheting socket on it, but you can get enough meat to lock it in there. And then if I want to remove it, there, see how that works. There's just enough meat where you can grab it and then make it tight. Okay, so there, I just did one. Yay. And I got that one back there to do, but now that I know the secrets, it's gonna go easier. So God, I hope that helps somebody. Okay, progress report. We have them both installed. It's been about 15-20 minutes since I started this job, but once you get the learning curve and you get yourself a nice sharp knife, you know, it goes actually pretty fast. That far one, the negative terminal back there, I had room to use a socket. My wrench wasn't working, but I had more than enough room back there to get my socket in. So we were all good with him. Up here, I can't use the socket because of this little piece of metal here, and that sucker would just short circuit. So wrench here, socket back on the negative. Okay, on to putting on some wiring. Oh, and the wiring is pretty cool. Thank you, whoever. I don't know if you could see it, but somebody had already, this black wire. Yeah, right there. Somebody already drilled me a hole. And I could get this 6 gauge in there. Now, depending on what you're doing, this isn't going to work for you. There you can kind of see how thick 6 gauge is. So I'm not drawing a whole lot of amps. You know, I just really need to run an air conditioner that's going to draw somewhere between 450 and 340, 300 watts, somewhere in there. So for my needs, this is going to be fine. But for somebody else, you're probably going to have to use bigger gauge wire. And, you know, the other reason I don't use bigger gauge wire is I already have that beautiful hole right down there, and I don't think too much is going to fit. You know, so, you know, you decide what you want to do. So this is just what I'm going to do. Okay, we're on to the next step. I'm going to install a fuse. And fuses versus circuit breakers. You could use a circuit breaker, but they say it causes voltage drops. And for these DC powered, you know, equipment, you know, like my power inverter, they say you don't really want to be using circuit breakers. So here's a fuse, and this is a 250 amp mega fuse. But I think for what I'm doing, I could run up to 300, but you know, 250 is fine. It's probably a little undersized, but it's like $5 for this fuse, and it bolts on. You take the nut off and you slip it on, and then I'm going to have to nut something on up here. So that's basically the dealio. So you should be fusing your power inverter system some way, somehow, and this is how I'm doing it. Okay, well here it is in all of its glory. I went with the green wire for my hot because I couldn't find my red wire. It's around somewhere. I don't know where it's at. But the choices were green or black, and I decided to go with black on the negative side for obvious reasons. So we have a green positive, so maybe that'll confuse somebody someday. I went with these crimp-on connectors. Just stripped the wire back, and I used my vice grips, and you know, it feels relatively sturdy. And that's just a zinc bolt, a 1/4 inch by 1 inch bolt. I'm sure somebody out there is going to tell me that I did it wrong and it should be a copper bolt, and maybe it should. And you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. If you know something I don't, post it in the comments. Anyway, so these wires are going to run to the inside through my little hole. And let's see. They poke through and come underneath the... Yeah, it's not a professional. Yeah, I know. I need to clean the van. Somebody's going to comment on that, too. It's an old van. It's 1987. Come on. Oh, look at that. I've got to get rid of these bottle caps. What's going on here? Anyway, so here's the inverter below the seat. And, oh, I forgot to put the remote control on. I'm going to do that here in a second. Okay, so this is pretty cool. This is, well, here's my dashboard of my old van. This thing came with a remote control. This power inverter is the coolest damn thing. So, check it out. Okay, so you hold this button in. Well, you're supposed to hold this button in. Okay, let's try it again. Maybe 3 to 5. There we go. Okay, so it's showing 12.2 volts. It's ready to produce 117 voltage, and I don't know what the other stuff says. So anyway, I do not think that that is correct. I don't think that my battery is really at 12.2 volts. I know this fan doesn't get driven much, but I have a little solar charger that stays plugged in. And it keeps the battery topped off. But hey, maybe it is 12.2. But I think it's these cables coming from the from the battery. So anyway, another reason I don't think it's 12.2 is it wouldn't start as easy as it does. So let's start her up. Okay, now we're running. Okay, so this is kind of cool. I get to see that we're at 14.4 volts, which is good healthy alternator. And it looks like a little more voltage on the AC side. So, and I guess when I plug it in, it's going to show me whatever appliance I'm running. It'll show me how many watts. Right now, nothing's plugged in, so I'm getting 0 watts. So, but in theory, when the 5,000 BTU air conditioner is hanging out the back of the window, this thing should show, you know, 320, 350 watts. And my alternator, for those of you thinking I'm going to burn up my alternator, so I put a new alternator in this about 5, 6, 7 years ago, and the old one died on me up in Wisconsin. And what is it, at the Napa Auto Parts store, they said, you want the regular or the heavy duty? And the difference was $20 for the heavy duty, and it made like, I don't know, 105 amps, and the regular one was 70 or 80 amps. So I went ahead and took the, you know, much more powerful heavy duty one. So yeah, I do have plenty of headroom. My calculation for this air conditioner, I'm going to be drawing 25 amps. You know, so yeah, I have it to give, so it's not going to be a problem. I think at idle right now, with nothing running, just my engine, I'm running 20 amps, so I have 85 amps left to go. Yeah, let's see if turning on the headlights affects the voltage. Okay, there we go. Headlights made it drop to 14.4. Let's turn off the headlights. It goes back to 14.5. Okay. Well, that would seem to kind of indicate that my battery isn't fully charged. So maybe I'll let the motor run for a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to kill the motor just to see what we're sitting at. Huh, okay. I guess maybe my battery was really at 12.2. Alright, well maybe I should drive this thing a little more than I do. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. This is going to be the end of my, inverter installation video. It seems like it's pretty cool.